We've got some volcanic energy on the menu. Here's how to work with it, and here's what to watch for. What's up, everyone? We're back with another round of astrology shots to get us through the end of May 2023. And we're talking about a celestial combination that's a little dicey right now, and Mars is the center of all the action. Actually, there's a lot of planets that are doing some interesting things all together right now. We're going to break it down. On May 20th, Mars enters the sign of Leo, and Mars is going to be creating a T-square with Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter has just moved into Taurus, and Pluto in Aquarius. So Pluto has also just recently moved into Aquarius. That's a major shift because Pluto is only going to change signs so many times in our lifetimes. So that's a really big deal. And astrologers are still getting to know that energy. We're also still getting to know Jupiter in Taurus this time around. So Mars entering Leo is going to ignite both of those new energies, and it's going to create a little bit of a wildfire for us. So let's break it down. So Mars has been kind of like a big deal this year. Mars was in Gemini. Mars was retrograde in Gemini. So that was all the rage for a little while. And we were all getting kind of bored of Mars in Gemini because Mars spent 7 long months in that same sign, in that same sector of our chart, stirring the pot in that same sector of our chart. We were all just ready for Mars to move on. So we were excited for Mars to change signs into Cancer, but we were also like, it's not really a comfortable sign for Mars to be in. Mars finds itself in the sign of its fall in Cancer. There's a lot of difficulty that the planet of direct energy, the planet of confrontation, the planet of war, has a little bit of difficulty in the sign of retreat in Cancer. And while that can be a good strategy, it's not always the most effective for facing things head on. So yeah, Mars retrograde, also not really the best for facing things head on or moving forward in the ways that Mars really, really is most comfortable doing. So Mars in a fixed fire sign, that's a little comfier for this planet Mars. So for Mars things, this is good news. This is good news. Mars things rules like going after something, starting something, tackling something, confronting something. Mars in Leo, that's really going to stir up that desire energy. And Leo is a sign that is expressive, dynamic, passionate. So Mars is going to energize all those qualities. And we kind of get that Leo energy infused into our sense of inspiration, our sense of motivation and passion. We're going to be motivated by Leo things over the next few months. So let's see here. Mars is going to be in the sign of Leo until, bear with me here, July 10th. So Mars is going to be in Leo until July 10th. Where it'll enter Virgo. So from now, May 20th until July 10th, we're going to be motivated by expressing ourselves, being creative, doing what's in our heart. Leo is a sign that's very much focused on expressing oneself in a very authentic and generous way. So Mars in Leo is very generous, wants to do nice things, wants to go above and beyond, also is motivated by the recognition factor a little bit, wants to feel appreciated. That's one of the Mars in Leo is very generous, but it also really wants the acknowledgement. So that's another thing. So with Mars and Leo, we're eager to put ourselves out there with our special little unique twist on it, the thing that makes us unique. So everything is going to get a little bit of an extra personalized flair with Mars and Leo that we can all look forward to. Now, Mars and Leo is also a big deal because Leo is going to be the sign where Venus is retrograde beginning on July 22nd through, I believe it's September 3rd. Yeah, it's September 3rd. So notice what Mars is amplifying, energizing, or irritating. There's a little irritation quality. So look at where you have Leo in your chart. Mars is going to be instigating some things. Mars is going to be stirring the pot. Notice what excites you, what inflames you. Notice what, where there's a deeper desire to be more authentic or expressed, or to create more generosity. So notice where the irritation comes in for Mars, because that is where a bigger 4-month story of Venus retrograde is going to be going on in Leo, where Venus is trying to sort of rearrange some things to create a broader sense of harmony. Venus is we'll talk much more about that Venus retrograde, but just know that Venus is going to come through and try to like tidy things up a little bit and sort of readjust our priorities in that Leo house. So make sure to notice what Mars is amplifying and energizing and agitating for us over these next couple months. Because as soon as Mars wraps up in Leo, Venus is going to come in and go retrograde. So they will be kind of sharing space in the sign of Leo for a little while. Venus is going to be kind of chasing after Mars, but they never actually meet up. It looks like it's going to happen, but access is denied. That connection is denied. It looks like it's going to happen, but then it doesn't. So for a little while, we will have like this sort of cat and mouse flirtatious chase going on in this sign, where Mars is stirring the pot and Venus is trying to create harmony. But then there will be this retrograde that is a little bit disharmonious for a little while, with the ultimate goal of rearranging things in a more aesthetically pleasing way. So there's going to be a lot happening in Leo. So let's get back to that T-square a little bit. So Mars in Leo is going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius. We know Pluto in Aquarius is talking a lot about technology. There's a lot of AI coming on the scene. And so, yeah, there may be something between like the desire of like authentic human talent and recognition and creativity butting up against that technological force that's really coming in. We're really moving full throttle into this age of air. We're going to have so much going on in the air signs. This really is symbolic of this next step for us as a human species in terms of our relationship with technology and the role that technology plays an increasingly relevant role in our lives. So there may be just a little bit of tension there in that way, like the artist versus the machine is one way that we could kind of look at that. The other thing we want to look at is where there's a lot of detachment. Aquarius, there's a lot of detachment about hot button issues, and Mars and Leo, which is like the enraged heart saying like, why don't more people care about this? And I know you all who have been following me and paying attention to me, you know that I'm a mom, you know that I have kids that I'm preparing to send to school. And like many of you, I'm sure many of you share my concern about, the mass shootings and stuff like that. And so when I think about like the inflamed heart versus like the power system of infrastructure, Pluto and Aquarius, but that it's cold and detached and it's just uncaring. That is what comes to mind for me. And so I wonder if that's going to just continue to be a bigger issue here moving into this aspect. So yeah, it's probably going to show up in other ways. And maybe you all have some ideas of how that's going to show up in the collective, where there's this force of this inflamed, passionate heart. Like we got to do something. There's this desire to create movement with fire. And then there's just sort of like this cold, stone-faced Pluto and Aquarius. Like, yeah, that's just the way it is kind of thing. So Mars in Leo is just going up against that. And these two energies, when they get together, Mars and Pluto, by the way, this is the first time we're seeing Mars opposite Pluto in this new dynamic. This is a very new dynamic. For the last 16 years, we've been seeing, 15 years, we've been seeing Mars in Cancer opposite Pluto in Capricorn. And historically, when we see these energies come into hard aspect, it's very volatile. We've seen shootings. I mean, we see those all the time. But I mean, Mars opposite Pluto, it's usually just it's something that carries a little bit more of a punch. It's a very volatile energy on the collective, like mass violence or an eruption of rage or some sort of outpouring of Martian energy just in a very big disruptive way. But like the Plutonian energy, there's something that hits a little deeper at the root, and it comes from a deeper place. It comes from a more cavernous place. So there's this powerful eruption of rage, of like irritation, of repressed anger. And that can come up for us in a personal way. So look out for that. Like around May 20th, there's going to be this accessing, this uprooting of this primal rage. And that can be like a little bit of a warning sign, to have some outlets. I always find that when that energy comes up, I need to work out. I need to sweat. So if you find yourself feeling that rage, you can use that to move mountains. You can use that to move obstacles in your life. If you actually have like actual boulders that you need to move in your yard, for example, or you need to do some Herculean effort, like rearranging your house or doing some kind of big project, painting your house. I don't know what it is. There could be some kind of major project that you really need to lift and get moving. Or you need to finish, there's a fixed sign. So maybe we're carrying something through. There's a staying power with it. So with the fixed energy. So there's something that you could really put an incredible amount of force into moving. Maybe there's an emotional obstacle that needs to be moved. This can be really good for it. It can get ugly. It's definitely not pretty. It's those ugly cries, but it is powerful. So Mars opposite Pluto is powerful for moving mountains, whether that's emotional, physical feats, emotional feats. It's a powerful release. So this is just gear up that this could be a very important period for releasing energy or funneling that energy into something. So get ready, because you might be feeling it, especially if you have planets around the early degrees of the fixed signs and possibly the late degrees of the cardinal signs. So the third counterpoint here is Jupiter. Jupiter in Taurus is going to be squaring all of that. So a whole other layer to add in. Jupiter amplifies. So this could get a little dicey, as I said at the beginning, because on its own, Mars and Pluto can be very volcanic, can be very destructive, can be just like sort of like this Kali energy of just burning it all down. But Jupiter magnifies, amplifies. It's going to be really provocative. It's going to provoke all of this. It's going to be like if Mars and Pluto are like, let's say a level 5 earthquake, Jupiter's going to bring it up to a 9. You know what I mean? Like, it is not saying necessarily that we'll see earthquakes, but you never know. I mean, this is like a mega release from the depths going on. And so Jupiter's just going to amplify all of that. The other thing I think with Jupiter and Pluto, that has a very strong signature of wealth. And, we're facing like major obstacles as a society with wealth inequalities and that sort of thing. So Mars could really be energizing that as well. So there's a lot of ways that we could kind of cut and paste and rearrange this. So I would recommend go watch my Pluto and Aquarius video, go watch my Jupiter and Taurus video, and that might help give like some other textures to what this Mars and Leo is going to energize right off the bat. So let me just be clear. When Mars enters Leo, it's going to energize this T-square. We'll be feeling that for about a week. But then Mars is going to move into Leo and energize our Leo house. It's going to pull off the gas from that Pluto and Jupiter business. So we'll really be feeling that just for like the first week of Mars's ingress. Well, actually, I take that back because we have a full moon that's going to, on June 3rd, that's going to really energize that. So we'll talk more about that full moon. So yeah, actually this energy probably will be felt for a little longer, but I want to be clear that The entire journey of Mars moving through Leo won't be this tumultuous, sort of uprooting largesse, So just be prepared for that first week to have some outlets, have some projects planned, call your therapist, create some space for deep, intimate talks with people you're closest with, be there for each other. So that's a little bit about what to expect when Pluto moves into Leo and ignites this whole trifecta of energy going on. But yeah, I think I should wrap that up. One other thing is just look at May 23rd. That's another one when Mars comes into the exact square with Jupiter. So yeah, that will be another one to look at. So yeah, that's a little bit about Mars moving into Leo, igniting that T-square with Jupiter and Pluto. And that's your astrology shot of the day. Bye. Thanks for tuning in with me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine. You can also book your reading with me at catherineurban.com. And hey, you may also want to join Cauldron, my monthly astrology meetup.